Welcome, welcome. You're listening to the Drink a Little podcast, where we talk about exploring the world of wine and spirits while not letting it take over your life. My name is Kelly Doherty. I'm a joyful child of God and a certified life coach. I'm also a wine educator and wine and spirits brand designer. I'll show you how you can navigate your relationship with alcohol and how that mindset spills over into the rest of your life. We'll learn about the world of wine and spirits together, all while bolstering your confidence that you can have boundaries around alcohol and live your most amazing life. This is episode number 42, Notice versus Noise. And we have been talking about this acronym for wine that represents your core 4 go-to concepts in your journey to creating balance in your drinking. And I would wager that this acronym is going to work for just about anything in your life that you're trying to transform, but it seems apropos that it spells out wine and that we're talking about managing over drinking and balancing your life. So to recap, the W is for who. Who have you decided to be in this moment and in your future? So much harder than it sounds, right? I is for intention. Plan out your intention for each situation, and don't worry, it gets easier and easier with time and practice. And today we are going to talk about the N in wine, and it stands for notice. Sometimes it's just noticing what colors are in the glass, but we'll talk about all of that. And before we go there, I want to share this beautiful wine with you. This is the Decoy 2021 Pinot Noir from California. The label has representation, nay, we'll call it a decoy, of a decoy duck on it. Decoy is a brand that's part of the Duckhorn portfolio. So you can find wines on the shelves in many, many locations, most locations, I would dare to say. You find Duckhorn and you find Decoy. So here's the difference. And it makes sense. I mean, decoy wines like the one we have today are meant to be consumed as soon as you get them. You know, just like about 90% of wines in the world, to be honest. But they say the ones that have Duckhorn on them, they're made to age. They cost a little bit more and probably are a little more complex. But I would argue that this decoy we're having today is a pretty good taste value. So let's give it a try. Okay. The first thing I noticed, even before I taste it, I start to swirl. And if you're on the YouTube version, you can see in the sunlight of this summer, of this almost summer, that this is a very, very light, bright cherry red. And it's fresh and almost transparent. And so that's pretty much how Pinot Noir is supposed to look, a light red wine. So we've given it a swirl, and now we'll smell and sip. Very comfortable to drink. There is a lot of depth of flavor. I would say some nutmeg or clove or something in the allspice area, maybe beyond the fruit. That's very intriguing. But the fruit itself is very fresh, red plum, tangy cherry, a little bit of raspberry, just some red, pretty much red fruits in here. Ironically, it would go very well with duck. I don't know if I can say that, but Pinot Noir generally goes well with duck, chicken, pork, savory mushrooms, those type of things, because there's a little bit of earthiness in here too. I'm having trouble putting a word to it, but a little bit of just maybe fresh earth. Yeah. This is a very good decoy. This is a very good buy, I believe, and not sponsored by Decoy or Duckhorn. So if you like Pinot Noirs, this is one to definitely try, maybe with some duck. And I chose this one called Decoy. I'm going to give you another little look at it again. I chose this for our theme today, noticing on purpose. And if you've seen a decoy duck, these are very expensive works of art. But it's a facsimile, a wooden, usually wooden, sometimes plastic, but a facsimile of a real duck. It's not real, but it looks real. And they're gorgeously detailed and painted. People collect them because of how beautiful they are. And the purpose is really to attract other real ducks by imitating a duck. And my point in the podcast today is notice the details of life, and notice when you're living a real, authentic life and having a real, authentic situation with someone. And notice when there's a decoy situation happening, whether it's coming from you or from someone else. And it takes practice for that noticing. The decoy diverts you from reality. And let me give you a very recent example from my back porch. So I was sitting out on the porch with some friends recently, and there were multiple times where wasps were coming in. We call them dirt daubers here. They carry little bits of dirt to build a home. And there were wasps hovering around our table, trying to land on our table, trying to be near us is what we felt like, the table where we were eating and drinking. And at first, we were pretty much acting like 4-year-olds, waving napkins, flailing arms, trying to get these beasts out of the way, right? And all that flailing distraction worked for a very short period of time. So wasp goes away, but they come right back. It would just work for a short period of time. Just so you know, this is like 1 or 2 wasps. At the time, it wasn't a whole nest or anything like that, but it caused total chaos, and we were acting like kids. So I was like, okay, let's just slow down, stop flailing arms. I didn't say this, but this is what I'm thinking, okay? So for myself, I said to myself, stop flailing around. Let's see what happens if we pause for a second to watch. And one wasp came in, not to annoy us and not to hurt us, but I noticed it was trying to build a home underneath the table where we were trying to enjoy ourselves. So we watched it, we noticed, and so we stopped making so much noise and flailing our arms about. Then we were able to get to the real heart of the matter. We could really solve for the actual problem versus solving just for the flying around problem. And so I just moved the table, got rid of the wasps. Rather than continuously disturbing ourselves, what we were doing was we were disturbing ourselves and messing up our own day. It wasn't really the wasp. So that was just a decoy, let's say. So a lot of times in life, our responses, our initial reactions to things happening may not look as obvious as adults flailing their arms around trying to get a wasp away from them, but in a sense, we're doing exactly the same thing. We are panic buttoning things, we are flailing around, and we're creating more noise than notice. If we can step back from the noise for a moment and notice what's really going on for us, this is the only time we can really affect change. So all I want you to try this week is to notice. And it can be on any topic. Notice when the noise and chaos seems to be taking over and seems to be in charge. And notice when your world is in peaceful state and when it's in flow. And notice I didn't say necessarily quiet and peaceful. Quiet is not what everyone is going for. Some people are, but most people are going for peaceful and in flow, out of chaos. So notice when you're the one creating some chaos or noise, and notice when you're accepting someone else's noise. Notice if you're compassionately observing someone's noise, their chaos, with true love for them and no judgment. Just notice. And at first you don't have to do anything. Noticing is often just enough. That is one of the first steps in making any change. And we so often don't take that step. We're addicted to the noise and we're addicted to the quick fix. So maybe just this week, I'm asking you to notice in all circumstances. If you have a little space, I want you to go outside sometime this week. Go outside your office, go outside your home, wherever you're so inspired, and just listen for 2 or 3 minutes and notice what's going on around you. Notice what you hear. Listen for the furthest sound away from you. It could be a siren. It could be the highway, a cow, maybe cicadas when you're in the south at dusk. Try to listen after that furthest sound. Then try to listen for the closest sound. It could be a bird, an air conditioner, a child. Just notice. And then try to listen, try to notice your own breathing. Just take a few deep breaths and listen. Just a few moments to get grounded and get in the practice of noticing. And it's not really an exercise in the sounds that you hear, but more of an exercise in tuning in to what's real and what's not a decoy. So don't skip noticing. It's a superpower when you notice yourself and you notice how you respond to external things. Don't fall for those decoys when it's your one beautiful life. So, to recap, we have W for who, I for intention, and now N for notice. These things will take you so far. And the final thing, next episode, is going to be the 4th principle to balance your life, and it's E for experience. So don't miss it. We are going to taste the 1,000 Lives red blend from Mendoza, Argentina. And if you are working on your responses and your choices and noticing the balance in your life with or without alcohol, I do teach to a deeper level. I have a one-on-one coaching program tailored to your needs where we cover how to stop over drinking, how to love yourself for all the right reasons, and emotional well-being. DM me on Facebook or Instagram or go to kellydoherty.com/cheers to learn more. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please share it with a friend and please give us a review or a rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you want the video content version of this, check us out on YouTube at Kelly Doherty Coaching. Bye.